Hinduism is considered by many as the oldest active religion in the world. It's a very unique religion with many aspects that are not so easily understood. The word Hindu is derived from the Sanskrit word Sindhu, meaning river. It was the Arabic invaders that used the name Hindu for people that were on the other side of the river, Indus. Now here's a surprising one. Did you know that Hinduism is not the real name for the religion? This name was made up by Greeks and Arabs to those living by the Sindhu River. The real name of Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma, or the Vedic Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal way, and that's pretty much the easiest way that I can translate it into English because there's no single English word translation for Dharma. Hinduism also has no founder according to scholars. They state that Hinduism has various cultural and traditional roots, and it has evolved over time through different texts and scriptures. And speaking of religious texts, yes, Hinduism is made up of several scriptures, sacrificial formulas, as well as songs. This group of texts are known as Vedas. Vedas are also called Sruti, unlike other religious texts which are called Smriti, meaning what is remembered. So the terms Hindu and Hinduism do not refer to any ancient texts of Hinduism. The term actually refers to the people of the Indus River region in India. And the common name for Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma, meaning the eternal duty of God, and that's sometimes translated as the eternal way. Followers are called Dharmis, which means followers of Dharma, and the words Hindu and Hinduism are predominantly used in Western society, but modern Indians have started to use the terms as well. For the sake of familiarity though and understanding, I'm going to be using the terms Hindu and Hinduism throughout this episode as well as probably other episodes as well. But I wanted to include this point in this episode just to clear up any confusion that anybody may have had. Number 9, 330 million gods, or 33 million gods, some people say. Why do Hindus have so many gods? Well, you see, the monotheistic view of God, meaning that there's only one God, is the most common religious view of the divine. And Hinduism, it's commonly seen throughout the world as a polytheistic religion due to the representation of 330 million gods or 33 million gods, depending on how you look at the translation. And polytheistic, of course, means multiple gods. However, that's not entirely accurate. See, the Hindu concept of God can be different for each person, but generally speaking, it centers around a single God or supreme being. Now, different Hindu practices allow for various representations of God, but each representation is a depiction of God. Hindus believe that the one supreme God cannot be fully understood, so the various representations such as Vishnu and Shiva and others are just symbolic of the one God, and different cultures over time created millions of various representations. Number 8, Hinduism supports a caste system. Caste discrimination finds its roots in culture rather than religion and spirituality. Now, caste was an ancient system of occupational class described in Hindu texts. Throughout the years, it developed into a social class system, and now the people of the lowest caste were marginalized, but many Hindus have argued that this social caste system that's happening now is not rooted in Hinduism at all, and it should not be viewed as something that the religion promotes. Another big lie about Hinduism out there is that Hindu women who are married have the red dots on their forehead. So today, the dot or the bindi is mainly used as body decoration. Now, a bindi was once a symbol of marriage for Hindu women. Now, females, whether they're married or single, they wear bindis in various different colors. And there's also a tilak, and that's also a mark on the forehead, and it has religious significance too. Now, it's generally made with sandalwood paste or red turmeric or something, and you will see men wearing this also. Lie number 6, Hinduism is an organized religion. The reasons religions become organized vary, like Christianity spread via the Romans / the Byzantines, and Islam spread through the Muslim campaigns in Asia as well as in Europe. But Hinduism was actually never organized, and it did not spread very much until recent years actually. There is no particular leader or founder of the religion, and it has never been backed by an empire. So the religion, if we were to use that term, has evolved into a collection of teachings and principles without the political influence seen in Islam and Christianity. The Hindu collections of teachings is believed to have began between 500 to 300 BC. Well, in Hindu culture, people greet each other while joining both their palms. And this is termed namaste. And the general reason for this tradition is that by joining hands, Hindus are showing respect to the other person. But if we look at it scientifically, we can see that joining both hands means joining the tips of the fingers. And the tips of the fingers are pressure points of the eyes, ears, and the mind. Joining and pressing those against each other help you remember the person for a longer period of time. And also, no exchange of germs happens here because you're not touching the other person. So yeah, a whole lot more than just a greeting in this motion here. Moving on to number 9, let's look at the toe rings. Wearing toe rings is a symbol to differentiate between married and unmarried women. There is a scientific reason behind this though. A particular nerve in the second toe passes through the uterus to the heart, and wearing a ring on this toe strengthens the uterus. It will help the uterus by regulating the blood flow and the regulation of the menstrual cycle. Most of the rings are made of silver as well, and silver is a very good conductor. So it helps in absorbing energy from the earth and passing it through the body. From there, we look at the practice at number 8, throwing coins in the river. Now, the general reason as to why this happens is to bring good luck, and the practice has been going on for many years. It's very ancient. So in ancient times, coins were made of copper, unlike the coins that we have now, which are made of steel. Now, copper, as you all know, is a very vital element. And the science behind this act is that in ancient times, it was to ensure that people had enough copper intake into their bodies by drinking water. And in those times, rivers were the only source of water. So yeah, there's some science, some wisdom behind the practice. It's not just about throwing coins into the river for good luck. Maybe it's good luck. Maybe it brings good luck. I don't know. From there, let's look at ringing a bell at the temple. People who enter the temple are supposed to ring a bell. And the general perception behind this act is that when you enter the inner sanctum where the main deity is present, you must ring the bell. Now, this sound is also said to keep evil forces away, but if we take a look at this scientifically, it is proven that the bell of the temple is designed in such a way that when it's rung, it helps your brain focus more by creating a unity between the left part and the right part of the brain. Now, the sharp sound of the bell lasts for a minimum of 7 seconds in echo mode. Now, this echo sound will activate the 7 healing centers in our body. Number 6 brings us practice regarding food. So the tradition of starting your meal with spicy foods first and ending it off with something sweet has been going on for a very long time. And if we take a look at the science of this, we get to know that eating something spicy will actually activate the digestive juices and the acids, just get your body ready for digestion. Now, this will ensure that the digestion process goes smoothly, and sweets contain a lot of carbohydrates that lead to bad digestion, and hence it shouldn't be eaten at first. So it's recommended, even medically, to eat spicy food before sweet ones. And of course, this is a long-standing Hindu practice. Even if you go to an Indian restaurant, the foods are spicy, but when you're leaving, there's like a bowl or tray of sweets for you to have. Now, there are 4 major traditions when it comes to studying Hinduism, and they are as follows. There's the Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Shaktism, and Smartism. Now, these Hindu denominations are traditions within Hinduism that center on one or more gods or goddesses. So they're sometimes referred to as denominations of Hinduism, and the terms denominations or traditions are often used interchangeably, so they pretty much mean the same thing. Now, these different denominations, they differ primarily in their focus of what deity is at the center of the tradition. So when we look at Vaishnavism, Vaishnavism is also called Vishnuism, and it's distinct because followers pay devotion to Vishnu and his incarnations or avatars. The followers of this tradition are called Vaishnavas. For Vaishnavas, there is absolute reality, or Brahman, is manifested in Vishnu, who in turn is incarnated in Rama, Krishna, and many other avatars. And when we break this down, we see that it is polymorphic monotheism, which means that it's a theology that recognizes many forms of one single single divinity, since there are many forms of one original deity. Through this, we have avatars. Through his avatars, the tradition states that Vishnu defends traditional righteousness in keeping the moral law, which is called Dharma. And among other popular names used for the Supreme Being are Rama, Krishna, Narayana, Kalki, Hari, Vithoba, Kesava, Madhava, Govinda, Srinathji, and Jagannath. Vaishnavism originated between the late centuries BCE and the early centuries CE, and it's really the mixture of the heroic Krishna Vasudeva, the divine child. And also mixed in there are Balakrishna of Gopala traditions. Vaishnavism comprises of many different sects and smaller groups that differ in their interpretation of their relationship between someone and the higher power or God. Then there is Shaivism. So in Shaivism, Shiva is seen as the supreme being, and the followers of Shaivism are called Shaivites or Saivites. Some trace the origins of this back to the Indus Valley civilization, which reached its peak around 2500 to 2000 BCE. Revering Shiva like this can be found all across India, as well as Sri Lanka and Nepal. Now, reverence to Shiva is very popular. It could have something to do with what the word Shiva actually means, and Shiva literally means kind, friendly, gracious, or auspicious. And when you use it as a proper name, Shiva means the auspicious one, and a name like that denotes success for people. So I don't know, who knows? Shaivism has many different sub-traditions as well, and there's different variations of them just depending on the region that you're in. You're gonna notice some differences there. There's a lot of literature also relating to Shaivism because I mentioned it is so popular, and there's also several different schools of thought. One of the other major branches is Shaktism. So Shaktism is the worship of the Hindu goddess Shakti, whose name means power or energy. The full form of the goddess's name is Adi Parashakti, and it's very popular in the states of West Bengal and Assam in India. In this tradition, the metaphysical reality is considered to be feminine as a metaphor. And then when we examine the Sruti and Smriti texts in Hinduism, we'll notice that they're very important to the framework of Shaktism and its entire tradition. Yogis regard Shakti as the power that lies dormant within the body as a coiled serpent. You may have heard the term Kundalini. So that's what that energy refers to, the coiled serpent, the Kundalini power. And followers of Shaktism believe that this must be aroused and awakened in order to realize spiritual liberation and freedom. On top of that, Shaktism is an important part of Hindu Tantra, the whole system of practices and everything. This is really designed to empower people so that they can just be free in their mind and their body.